If you're a big fan of the Stats app, then you're going to want to stick around for this interview. As we all know, Tesla is on the forefront of technology. So of course, it's going to have an app to accompany that technology. However, many people have argued that the Tesla app lacks in many departments. So as a result, there are several third-party apps out there that people have developed. The problem is, there are a lot out there. So how do you sift through them all and find out the one that's right for you? Well, what I discovered over the last several months is an app called Stats app. And it seems to kind of fit everything that I was looking for in an app. And over the months, what I really began to appreciate is the fact that not only has the app delivered on everything that I needed from the app, but the developer himself has done an outstanding job keeping up with all of the changes over the last several months that Tesla has made to the car and making sure that that app fits and goes along with all those changes as well. So I reached out to the developer of the Stats app, and I was surprised that he actually reached out to me very quickly afterwards, and we set up an interview date. So what I decided to do with the interview is to split it up into two different parts. Now the first part, which is what this video is to get to know the guy behind the app. And of course the second part of the video, which will be in a video to follow, is to really dive deep into the app. And I thought, what better way to do that than with the developer himself? So let's get on to getting to know the guy behind the app. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you the developer of the Stats app, Ramin. First and foremost, how did you come about with this idea? How did this all come about?
It started as a small project right after I got my Model S back in 2017, January. I got the car and I figured, oh, something's missing. It's the widget. I want to do things quickly without unlocking the phone or launching the app. That was missing. At the time, Tesla app didn't have a widget. So I said, okay, I do this quickly over the weekend and it becomes the app. And I publish it and I let my friend use it. And he bought the Model S at the same time as I did. So I sent the app to him and he says, okay, this is great, but can you do this? And can you do that? And little by little, features were added to the app. And then I got more users and then feature requests from them. And it became what it is today.
So it was really something that you just wanted for your own personal use, really, and then it just kind of grew into something that, hey, you know what, more people might want this, right?
That's true about all the apps almost all the apps that I've written. It's either for me or for my friends or my mother-in-law, for example. And those becomes the apps that usually I use most of the time. And my wife uses most of the time. And those are apps that are useful because you are the user. So you know what's necessary and what's useful.
Okay, so is this the first app that you've made for kind of personal uses that ended up becoming what it is?
No, there are a lot of them. I've written about 30, 40 apps.
Wow.
Not all of them are successful. But another app that I've written for myself and became successful was for Nest thermostat, to turn it on and off as you go in and out of the house. It's multi-user geofencing. And that was something that was missing from the Nest app. It has it, but it doesn't work. So a lot of users resort to my app to do the functionality.
With all of the different third-party apps out there, I asked him who he thought his biggest competition was. And he actually had a hard time coming up with an answer to that. So I brought up what once was Remote S, now Tesla Remote, and here are his thoughts on that.
My approach is to complement Tesla app and do things that it doesn't do, like collecting statistics and smart battery prep and smart scheduling for climate and smart Sentry, things that don't exist in Tesla app.
For those of us outside of the app development community, such as myself, it's really difficult to appreciate just how much work goes into developing an app, from writing the code to even just maintaining it, making sure there are no bugs, making sure you keep up with all of the different changes in technology. So of course the question is this his only source of income, or does he have a job outside of this?
I sort of retired from my corporate job last year, and I knew that I'm not going to retire. I'm going to do something else, and this has become a full-time thing for me. And as you have noticed since last year, the features in the app are I'm adding more and more features to the app on a weekly or monthly basis, and that's why because I kind of retired from my corporate job. By training, I'm a data scientist and a computer vision expert and AI. So that's my training, and I'm trying to do more of that actually in my new app, which is coming out very soon. It's called SentryView, where I show the left and right and center videos from Sentry or dashcam videos on iPhone.
Okay, and is that going to be a separate app, or is it going to be kind of integrated within your Stats app?
It's a separate app because, for one thing, you don't need credentials to use it, and it's an entirely different thing. And I figured it's better to publish it as a separate app.
What's it going to be called? I know you've been kind of talking about that and thinking about that.
Yeah, we took a poll on Twitter, and SentryView seems to be the winner.
SentryView. Good. That's cool. I think that's a good name.
Yeah, it's simple. It's not trying to be too clever. Sometimes.
So that's going to be something that literally you can be in your car. You can see the notification that there have been like 2 or 3 activity or a little bit of activity, and then you can right there on your phone check it out, right? Is that kind of the idea behind it?
That's exactly it. Right. My wife asked me to do this because she said, okay, I see this notification. How do I view the video? So I said, unplug the USB, bring it home, and put it in the computer and browse through them. And even then it's cumbersome because there's left, right, and center videos. You can't see them side by side. So it's kind of strange. If the event was triggered because somebody was on the left side of your car and you look at the center one, you miss it. You don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, good. I'm looking forward to that. I remember you kind of did a poll too, like, would you pay for it? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I'd pay. That's a great app.
App pricing fascinates me. It's one of those things that I think a researcher can write a paper on it. The expectation from app pricing is entirely different from anything else in our lives. So on Twitter, I was joking about it that I said, okay, a friend of mine said that he has developed this algorithm that cures all diseases and ends world hunger. And his friend says, okay, this is worth billions. This is great. Yeah. And then he says, oh, by the way, I made it an app. And the other guy says, oh, is it free? It's that expectation that we have from apps. And it comes from the fact that really fascinating, excellent apps have been provided to us by big corporations. And they're not free. It's in exchange for our privacy. They made them free because we pay for it indirectly. But it has created this expectation that anything that's called an app should be free, regardless of how much effort has gone through making it. So that's my view of app pricing.
Well, I've always appreciated it because I do realize it does take a lot of work. And I couldn't do anything like this. I don't have the mind to just start making apps. I mean, the coding is it's crazy. I can only imagine. I think of, for example, Teslafy, which it's not an app, right? It's a computer program and it's all internet based, but then they charge you per month. So is that something you kind of considered too, maybe a monthly fee?
Yes, I think I made a mistake by making the app a one-time purchase, and going forward for the new users, not for the users who have paid already, I'm planning to make it in-app purchase. I've just been lazy because doing that requires coding as well, especially recognizing somebody has purchased the app before, and it's uninteresting coding. It's not innovation. It's just dealing with transactions and all that. But yeah, going forward, I think I need to make that a subscription based because it's not sustainable this way because there's server costs and other costs that are incurring every month that I have to pay. But it will be something like Teslafy in terms of pricing.
Good, good. Are you a one-man band? Are you just a guy who works out of your house developing these apps?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think that's small group or one person in this case is the key to being agile and move forward quickly. Otherwise, you have to meet like 5 times a day and vote on things. Whereas I decide to do this because you told me so, because it's useful, and I finish it tomorrow. I start today and finish it tomorrow. In fact, one of the features of the app that I resisted to do for a long time was the watch app. And I always said, oh, watch is slow, it's not going to work. And I didn't realize that watch is slow because I had an older watch. And then I bought a new watch. Oh, this is fast. The Watch 4, Series 4. And I think it was somebody on the forum, a Tesla Tidbits guy. He suggested that I should do a watch app. And I did it like in 2 days. Because I didn't have to meet with people and convince them. It was me. You convince me, I'll do it.
Yeah. No, that's great. And I thought that was a great integration for that. And then, of course, the other latest thing that you did is for the Mac, for the desktop, just kind of a simple little display at the top of the screen, right? Tell me about that.
Right. That was a suggestion from Tesla Raj, who is in the community. You must know him. Yeah, he suggested and then said, oh, that's useful. I'm on my Mac all the time. So I like to see what's going on with the car. What's the inside temperature? What's the battery and how much range I have? And if I'm charging, how long before the charge finishes? And if the car is in Sentry mode. So small things that I like to see on the menu bar. It's called Stats Menu Bar app.
Okay. Well, actually, yeah, I downloaded it actually the other day. And I work from home a little bit in the morning, and there it was. It was like, oh, there's the chart. I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. Like you say, like Raj was saying, like if you're on your Mac a lot, it's always up there. You kind of know the status of your car at all times. So it's for those of us who are infatuated with our cars, it's just that one more from our phone, from our watch, from our computer. It's all there all the time. So that's fantastic. I think that's great that you've done that. So it's clear the Stats app has grown significantly since he developed it, starting as an app to integrating the Apple Watch and eventually the Apple desktop as well. But that's not where it stops, because he's taking this international.
It's been translated to German and French already, and the community is extremely generous. This was done by 2 people who have helped me, Pascal who did the translation to French, and Yui, I hope I pronounced his name correctly, for translation to German. These are users of my app who volunteered to do the translation. It's a ton of work. I didn't realize how much text exists in this app.
I can imagine, yeah. Well, that's fantastic. So it sounds like this is really expanding and becoming a big thing for you. So I think that's great. Another thing, and this is probably something you probably hate, and you're probably going to hate that I'm asking this questions. I'm an Apple fan. I'm a total Tesla boy. I'm a total Apple boy. So I don't have any Android. But what are there plans? Are you thinking Android? Is that just a total new beast?
It's the latter. It's it's not. Well, half of the stuff exists, and that's the back end. So I can share the back end and write an Android app. The problem with that is there are 3 problems that I see. One is that there is OS fragmentation, meaning that I cannot use the latest features of the OS. I have to do a common denominator, which is probably like 5 versions before this latest one. Unlike iOS, that the vast majority of people are on the latest version of the iOS. That's not the case for Android. I think the numbers are much lower. So that's OS fragmentation. Then there is device fragmentation. Okay, with iOS, I have to deal with 3 screen sizes, maybe 4. And with Android, there are like 50, like 500 type of devices that I have to deal with. And then the last problem is that I think Android users are less accustomed to paid apps. And that's a result of Google providing a lot of things, a lot of really good apps to them for free. So, and it's a whole new development on the front end, at least, which is really difficult. Now, in the past few days, I would say, I've gotten a lot of emails from Android users. I don't know, because somebody has posted something on some forum. I've been bombarded by requests to do Android.
So sorry, Android users, it doesn't look like there is any support for the Stats app on the Android device anytime soon. So that wraps up Volume 1 of this interview series with the developer of the Stats app. And again, the whole idea behind this first interview is just kind of get to know the guy behind the app. And the second part, which we will have in a following video, will be to really dive deep into the app itself. And I thought, what better way to do that than with the developer himself? And I was sure that during that interview that I drilled him and asked him lots of questions about the app so we can get a really good idea what the app offers. And I think it's going to be one of those videos that it's good for anyone. If you have the app itself already and have had it for a while, I think you'll enjoy the video because I think you'll discover new things about the app that you didn't know about. And if you're on the fence about purchasing it, this will be a good one to watch because it'll really give you a good idea as far as what the app is about. And again, that's going to be in probably the next week or two. There's a lot of information. It's going to take some time for me to really kind of sift through it and really make it to make it an effective video at that. And also, there are a lot of different apps kind of included and mentioned in this video, so I'll be sure to post a link to all of those in the description below. So be sure to check that out, which of course we were talking about the Nest app and a couple of other apps. Now, one thing, as I'm recording this as we speak, the SentryView that he was talking about has just been released as I'm recording this. Now, one thing to keep in mind, before you go out and buy that app, you have to make sure that you realize and understand that you have to, in order for that app to work, you have to buy the SanDisk Connect USB drive. And so that's going to cost you some more money on top of that. So just be aware of that before you go out and purchase the app and think to yourself, well, why isn't this working? It's not working because you need the SanDisk Connect USB drive. And of course, he states that very clearly in the description, and once you buy the app, lets you know where you can purchase that USB drive as well. All right, so thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to check out that future video and get an alert for that, you can subscribe to my channel. And of course, it goes without saying, if you are purchasing a Tesla, whether it's a Model 3 or an S or an X, you can use my referral code, which I'll put that at the bottom of this video as well, and you'll get 1,000 miles of free supercharging. So thank you all so much for watching, and until my next video, stay positively charged.